Hello, my friends, and welcome to Crimes with Cole. So, hello. How are you guys doing today? I hope you guys all are having an amazing day. I hope you guys are also having a great week so far and ready for the weekend. So, in today's case, we are going to be talking about something that is more common than what it should be. Much more common. And in today's case specifically, I don't know if there's really anything that this woman could have done differently than what she did. Today, we are going to be talking about Lynette Craft. She was on her way out the door. And before she could step out the door, she was stopped. And she was never heard from again. Lynette Craft was born on December 16, 1962, in Whitewater, Wisconsin. She and her now husband, Tom, had grew up attending the same school. And they became high school sweethearts. They had their entire life planned out. They would go to college, they would get great jobs, buy a beautiful home, have children, and that's what happened. The two went off to college, and they both got married at the age of 21. After graduating college, they had moved to Swanson, Ohio, where Tom had landed a job. And there, Lynette gave birth to two boys, 8 years apart, Brian and Chris. And Lynette was said to be an amazing mother to those boys and an immaculate homemaker. And while from the outside looking in, everything seemed perfect. Lynette was a wonderful wife, an amazing mother. Tom was a hard worker. The boys were always well taken care of, did great in school. She was friendly to everyone. They were friends with everyone. But although everything looked great from the outside looking in, no one really knew what was going on behind closed doors. Lynette came from a very close-knit family. And once she had moved away, they had noticed that they started hearing from her less and less. And the small amount of times that they did hear from her, they just noticed that she wasn't herself. That she was once this outgoing, friendly, talkative woman. And now she was very short, quick to get off the phone, and didn't seem to be as outgoing and friendly as she once was. Lynette confided in her neighbor, Pinky, about her marital problems, about how Tom had become controlling, that he wouldn't let her see or talk to her friends like he used to, and that he wanted her to be a specific way. He wanted to control the finances. He wanted to control what she did. He just wanted control over Lynette in every aspect of their lives. And how Tom was now becoming abusive. On June 25th of 1999, Lynette's brother, Bob, had called. He was excited about his upcoming wedding, and he just wanted to make sure that Lynette was able to attend. Lynette, filled with disappointment, told her brother that she would not be able to attend his wedding because Tom did not want her to. Bob told Lynette that she needed to leave Tom, that Tom was not the same guy that they all knew, that he had changed, and they all saw it. They all could tell Lynette had changed over the years since she moved out to Ohio with Tom. And Lynette, with her brother's words of encouragement in confidence, she decided that she was going to leave Tom. So on June 28th, she was going to take her and her 2 boys and go back home because she deserved better. She did not deserve to be controlled, and she did not deserve to be withheld from her own family. She was bound and determined this time. She was going to leave. So she packed up her suitcases, packed up the boys' bags, and was on her way out the door. Except Tom came home early from work that day. And as she was heading down the stairs to walk out the door, Tom had opened up the front door and caught Lynette with her suitcases in her hands and her 2 boys behind her holding their bags ready to leave. Lynette's family knew that she was ready to leave Tom. She had told Bob, and Bob had let his parents know, and they all knew Lynette was coming home. So when they had not heard from her for a few days, they couldn't help but wonder what happened. Alan, Lynette's father, had gone all the way to Swanson, Ohio to figure out where his daughter was. Why wasn't she picking up the phone? Why wasn't she calling them back? And this is when he discovered she wasn't there. So he had reported her missing. Now, ironically, after Alan had reported his daughter missing, on the same day, the Washtenaw County Sheriff's detective had called the Swanson PD and reported a possible homicide. They had found a woman's body parts scattered all throughout town. They had found a foot at the McDonald's dumpster. They had found a torso near Interstate 94's rest stop. They found a head at the trash dump, the local trash dump, and a few other body parts kind of scattered here and there. Like one was by a pond and a few other places that were near town. And what they had found with those body parts was an Ohio driver's license belonging to Lynette Craft alongside her clothes. Tom was instantly arrested for the murder of his wife. Now, Tom pled not guilty. He said he did not kill his wife. He did not. He loved her. Why would he kill her? During the trial, Tom had said that Lynette had taken her own life. And Lynette comes from a Christian family, and that would devastate them alongside being a sin. And he didn't want her family or their boys to know that Lynette did this to herself. Tom took it upon himself to dismember Lynette's body because that way he could scatter it around town and nobody would know that she had done that horrendous thing to herself. That was Tom's story during trial. They came back and gave Tom a plea deal, and he took it. So his story must have not been too believable to too many folks. And he had pled guilty to voluntary manslaughter, abuse of a corpse, and possession of criminal tools. And in 2000, Tom was given 12 years in prison. 12 years in prison. Chris and Brian had moved back to Wisconsin with their grandparents and lived with them. When they caught wind that Tom's plan was to move back to Wisconsin after he was released from prison in 2012, they feared that Tom was going to come back and take these boys and that there was going to be nothing they could do about it. And they knew in their hearts that Lynette did not take her own life. They did not feel that those boys were going to be safe with Tom if he were to get, custody back of the boys and the boys were to live with Tom. They did not feel that they were going to be saved. So they had fought and fought and fought to have Tom stay in Ohio after he was released from prison. They had created Lynette's Law. And what it says is that no convicted felon shall be released from prison without first receiving an approval of the conditions of supervision from the victim and victim's family provided. However, that said, approval shall not be unreasonably withheld. Basically, since he's a felon, he needs approval from the victim, or in this case, the victim's family, to see his kids again supervised. And after all of that fighting, they had won. Tom was released from prison in 2011, but he had to stay at a halfway house for the next 5 years under the state's supervision. And while he is in this halfway house, they require him to go look for a job, right? They can't just sit around all day. They have to, get to work. So he had landed himself a job as a maintenance tech at Lakeview Farms in Ohio. Still to this day, after he had left the halfway house, he still remains in Ohio, and that's where he is. He never tried to go back to see his boys. Sure, he may have tried to reach out once or twice. I think it's very clear that those boys probably want nothing to do with their father. I know there's an 8-year age gap. I know the youngest one may not have remembered that much. The older one probably did. Probably, heard mom and dad fighting. Kids, they pay attention a little more than what they lead on for us to believe. But this is a very sad case. It's very devastating. And I guess I just don't understand how people become so possessive. There had to have been something wrong with him over the years. I'm not sure. But it is a very, very sad case, and I'm glad that the boys are with their grandparents. I mean, could you just imagine finding out? I mean, first, you find out that your child has, regardless of the age, you find out that they have had their life taken, right? That they've been taken from this earth. And then secondly, to have them dismembered. I just feel like that's a real, knife to the gut and twisting it. Real twist in the gut, because that's just awful. It's truly awful to have them just, bits and pieces of them. But what do you guys think? You'll have to let me know. And until next time, please remember to be safe, and I will see you then. Bye.